society, already we have falling TFR rates, right? You're from which country?
Spain.
Oh, Spain. Okay, but when you're free, you go home and Google about TFR, the total fertility rate. The rates are dwindling already in places like Canada, Australia, Singapore.
Spain is in the crisis. I saw in the newspaper.
Yes, yes.
So when you see about TFR, it says by study you need to have minimum 2.2 every person, so that that community gets replaced by itself. And in Canada, I believe it's about 1.6 or something. Singapore is 1.2. That is, after 20 years, there is not much people. You got the point, right?
The trends are that in the world we are going to be 10,000 million in 10 or 20
but here
years. So
I get your point, but there the replacement you see is coming from places like Africa, Bangladesh.
maybe, yeah.
Yes,
You got the
yes,
point,
yes,
right?
not from Europe.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true.
So, I mean, if anything is definitely beneficial, we have to think practically. How about everyone practice that? Where is it going to take us, right? You got the point. So, if a man and woman is something really a natural thing to do, if everyone were to do, you can think we wouldn't even replace our own community. You got the point. How would you make babies? You got the point. You still have to plant it to another male and female relationship, or plant it into another woman. The surrogate mothers that you hear. Let's say a man and man tries to have a relationship, which is quite not natural. I have explained you why it's not natural.
Yeah, I understand, but
So
I think that everybody is different, and if the major part of people is doing the natural thing, why if it's really it's very few people that is homosexual. It's very few people.
Yes,
So I think ¿cómo se llama? Humanity, it don't depends of these few people.
I see that,
We
which
can,
is why I'm saying.
we can permit that they
See, where
are
they
free,
are,
they
yeah.
can love wherever.
I do get
So,
the point that
Humanity will not finish for
I
these few people.
no, I
that
mean,
reproduce.
not
So-
necessarily. Exactly. Now, say when a guy murders one guy, doesn't mean that he's going to end the humanity. That is something odd. But I agree, this is not as bad as murder. I'm not saying homosexuality is as bad as murder, but we are talking about this trend of placing desire over morality. Now let's for a moment think now there is no religion, okay? Now what stops me from saying, let's say a man and woman is having sex in the road. How is it wrong? Forget religion.
Yeah, no.
There's
it's not.
nothing wrong. Animals, but we know that all this culture, everything, if you see the root eventually goes to Abrahamic religion and morals, right? Who tells me what is right and what is wrong? Let's say I'm a businessman, I want to make money, I can kill few old people, they are unproductive. What is wrong? See, if you think scientifically by thinking about profit, explain me as per science, what is wrong if I kill all these disabled people? They are not even productive resource for me in my city, right? So what stops me? What stops me is the morality that comes from religion. So exactly when we talk about valid relationship and all of those, most of the religions, whether it is Abrahamic or not, is pretty clear that, and it is practical too. You got the point. The whole reason we are discussing this is because it's unnatural, and we want to make it natural. There is so much pressure now.
I understand that.
Now
but
I'll give you an
it's-
example for you for a moment. I remember a news in Australia. A guy had relationship with his own daughter, and listen, and he said, "My daughter is fine with it. Why is this society forcing on to me?" You got the point. His daughter is fine, and he is fine. Now who tells it is wrong? See, if you keep on justifying, look, my dog is fine, I am fine, and things like that, there is n number of combinations you can think of. You get the point. I do get the point that they have to realize that we can't force it. But if you go down this road, where is the end? Right? What is wrong with the guy having with his daughter when daughter is fine with it? Or like with his dog, or I mean, there are people who kill dog and eat it. He is not doing anything bad in that regard, right? So if you think about, but so from all of this, like if let's say, on a technical point of view, a computer will not know its limit. A guy who made a computer would know, right? Like say a washing machine.
The limits are the human rights and dignity of the people.
Yes, we should have.
These are the only
Yes, I'm not saying just because a guy is homosexual, he doesn't have human right and dignity. We are not talking about that. But if we were to put aside our ego and desire and really wholeheartedly understand from whom we should derive the best quality and morality, if we were to look in that perspective, right, we would go for religion, we would go for morality in a society, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And that varies from place to place in religion. I do understand the point. But in the name of human right, we can't say, look, I do whatever I wish and no one should question me. For example, if you consume drugs in Singapore, it's death sentence. What is wrong in it, right? I'm just having few product. It doesn't even make sense. So how do you explain this? Even in Malaysia, it's pretty strict. So if you keep on justifying that, look, I am doing myself, who are these people to ask me, then there would be no end. You get the point. So at some point of time, you'd have to come, okay, we would need to know what is the right thing to do.
But the problem is, yes, that the morality is maybe it's not the same for you than for
so
me.
if we leave the morality to the people, they keep on, they would be changing. One example I would say, like in 1960s and 50s, if you were to see some documentary, some Europeans would travel to a tribal area who would be without clothes. These people give clothes and make them civilized. But now the opposite is happening, right? Now day by day, the more you shed the clothes, the more you are civilized. You got the point, right? So if you want to get fully civilized, then shed all the clothes. It doesn't make sense. You got the point? If we are talking about a woman is liberated if she wears less clothes, then let's get fully liberated. So what I'm trying to say, it depends from society to society what you define as covering. You think, okay, I'm not being forced to, but who even defined it for you, right? If you go to France, I remember women were protesting, why should we even close our breast? You won't even expose our breast. There was a protest in the beach. Women said, if a man can go without shirt, even women should go. You got the point, right? They say, logically what they say is correct. But we do know inherently how the hormones secrete for a man when he sees certain flesh. I can't explain because you're a woman, but as a man he understands. There are some things we are made in such a way that certain things do trigger for a beneficial reason, so that a man and woman joins together and furthers family and takes care. These are practical things. And you want to test everyone by, you know what, I'll go entirely, almost to some degree, you get the point, right? And then you tell that a man is supposed to, then which is why he gets some weird cancer like prostate cancers and all of this, because he is exposed to places and his hormones getting released, not you just control, you got the point, right? Then he ends up, and
we are not only predators, we have common sense, education, we can control
but I do appreciate,
behavior.
Yes, I appreciate, but the thing is the people who are caught are PhD holders, doctors. Doctors say so many women, but still you would see news, a doctor involved in rape case, a teacher involved in rape case, a priest involved in rape case who is supposed to be next to God. Deep down, regardless of all your common sense, everything, we still have some carnal desires. So to be practical, we would have to put some break points so that we are safe. You can't say, hey, if only you had common sense, you would have done. Yes, I agree, you might be a good guy. But you cannot guarantee safety of all women in Penang, assuming all would be like you, correct? Right? You got the point, right? Maybe you are a good, careful driver, but for the sake of children, some places would be like 40 kilometers per hour. You can say, if I see a child, I can apply my disc brake. You get the point, right? But to be in a conservative society, there are rules. So, yeah, that is speaking practically in terms of society. When it comes to religion, that is, there is no doubt that there is a God, and when we search and we do find that this amazing God has got to be one, not a person who would depend on others like human beings. And when we do in that search, we do realize the Abrahamic faith where Islam makes sense, that there is only one God. And in Islam it's pretty clear, it says that God doesn't have any gender to it. It's practical, right? If God creates a male and a female, how can God be a male? Unless it is a product of human imagination, because there are many religions where God is shown as a male with a beard and having a male son, not a female daughter.
I don't like this.
So it's pretty clear that it's a human imagination. Oh, let me write a story. It's a guy, and woman should not open her mouth in church, and those things. It's pretty obvious. But when it comes to Islam, it's pretty clear. God is beyond all this. You can't even comprehend. There is no form who has seen it. We haven't seen him. So. And he is one and only God who doesn't need kids. Neither he is a product of some parents. He is different. We would come to know after day of judgment. And this God has, through His mercy, He has given us signs. Like for example, if I were to say be in Penang and I see this water bottle, for sure I know there is some sign of intelligence here. Correct? I can't say by 500 years all this oil formed together, then some plastic came and wrapped and it printed ice mountain, right? It's written ice mountain, correct? Yeah, because we know from our common sense any message comes from the product of an intelligent mind, right? This ice mountain, in order to bring out, it cannot be random. There is a language, there is a message.
Yes.
So similarly, if you go deep in our body, every cell has DNA, and that DNA has like 2.2 GB of information. Just by taking your DNA, I can
How many gigabyte?
2.2 gig, 2.2 gig.
Each?
Each cell DNA that it is there. So when I decode your DNA, without even seeing you, I can reconstruct your face. I know what color it shall be. I know
Yes.
what DNA as a Spanish person it is. Now, if you were to tell me all of this just happened by itself, it doesn't make sense. If someone is trying to force some theory on me, it's pretty practical that even when tissue paper has a procedure and designer, I'm talking about a tissue paper in bathroom, right? Even that has a designer, procedure, it has a process, and it has a purpose. And a human being like me is just a random thing. It doesn't make sense. It's like someone is trying to force fit here. So when we travel through this journey and we do realize there is a God, and we would open-mindedly search all the revelations that have been on earth. Okay, I check Hinduism, I check Buddhism. Oh, when I see Buddhism, I see Buddha as a guy who ran away from his wife, and he talks about Zen when he has left his basic responsibility. Okay, then I'm from India, and I see Hinduism, there are God for n number of God. Monkey is a God, this is a God, that is a God, I am a God. It doesn't make sense. A guy who is carrying right now urine and excrete, I cannot be a God. And they even call a man also as a God. Some priest, and he's also seen a God. So all these are demolished when I see Islam. It's totally unique. I see it says God is not like anyone who I've seen him. He's totally unique. He's beyond all this. He's beyond all gender. Then it makes sense to me. Okay, this Quran does really speaks logical to me. And inside that, when I get to read, God, it is God's desire that woman is so highly dignified that she should be covered up. Like even when you go to a club here in Penang, they have their own rules, right? If you don't wear jeans, you're not allowed, or you should not wear sandals, you have to wear shoes. We follow that even for a mere club. And if I were to come for a masjid where my duty is to focus and pray, shouldn't it make sense that a lady should be given a cover where she would be comfortable with? Like, for example, my wife has come with her baby. She'll be, my wife has come here with her baby. It makes more comfortable when she is in a cover where she can give milk without need to worry. You know, she has her own privacy. And moreover, from my experience at work, I've seen when a person is fully clothed, I'm talking in terms of their intellectual connection. I'm least bothered about what shapes he or she has. But in the same degree, I see in office a lady say not fully clothed. She would rather be attracted by her shape than what she actually is. You got the point. The real respect to her intelligence, her character, I see comes by when she.
Yes.
This is natural as a man, I'm saying. But of course, men do like who are not well as well for the reason that they get attracted to. And if you were to see even from religions, I am assuming if you're a Christian, you take any picture of Mary, at what attire is she, right? If you take a picture of Mary or even Jesus with beard, except the Roman depiction, you see they are exactly following what Islam prescribed them to do, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in fact, there was this cartoon I saw. If Mary or Jesus were to come now in some European countries, they might get arrested because they speak Middle Eastern language and Middle Eastern, the attire.
Yes.
So hopefully, I'm assuming you got an understanding the wisdom behind why we have to cover. First and foremost, it is not for the sake of man. It's God's instruction that it is beneficial for a woman to wear this way, and men also have hijab. It's not that I can go without shirt. Like we call it, in Arabic it's called hijab, the protection or cover, right?
Yeah.
For a woman, it's there, okay, until this, and face can be shown. There is nothing in Islam where you have to cover your face. It's a cultural thing, some people practice, it's not there in Islam. Okay, it's not there in Islam.
To be.
It's a cultural thing, it's not there. Similarly, for a male too, there are hijab to follow. For example, I cannot come without my shirt too, because there are some women too can get excited, or it's a form of unnecessary distraction. So hijab is not only for women, to correct it. So this is a prescribed best practice, the way it should be. So there are two things. They say either you can be slave to a creator, or you can be a slave to a creation. It's up to you to decide. When you want to pick some lifestyle, at the end of the day, it comes down to this: do you want to be a slave to the creator who created you, or to the creation? Now, in the world that we are seeing here, the rules change based on desire. Today, the desire is to a man. Today, the desire is I wear this. Today, the desire is a drug.